Georgette Rowland here of the Financial Gym, the only place where someone else does the working out for you, helping you to be the financial leader in your business as opposed to the financial expert. I want to talk today about a real life situation. I'm going to do my best to be as general as I can, because the last thing you want to do, particularly in my type of business, is to divulge any confidences, because secrecy and keeping confidences is a big part of what I do. But I wanted to illustrate this to try and get to the bottom, or explain how a very typical scenario that business owners deal with can come about. And one of these is, I'm making money, so why do I never have enough to pay my bills? Why do I need to keep pumping personal money into the bank account to cover my expenses? I met a guy recently, about a year or so ago, and he runs a company that I must admit, it's in an industry that I'm not in love with, not because there's anything wrong with it, but it's a type of industry that is fraught with problems. They never really run smoothly. Some of them work really well, but you really have to know your stuff. And he was new to it, but I tell you, he's such a lovely guy, I really couldn't say no. Not to mention he was using quite prestigious accountants, and they were costing a fortune, and he needed more regular input, and to pay those kind of fees for that kind of input would have just been unrealistic. So I agreed to take it on. In the beginning, yes, he was pumping money in, but fair enough. The type of company that he ran required very high setup costs. And of course, when you start off, sales aren't that great. They're a lot slower than we all think they're going to be. So that made sense. So his losses were typical. But as time went on, we could see the sales were, going up and up and up. And then it started to really hit its stride and rock it up. But nonetheless, still he was having to pump money in, month in, month out, month in, month out. And we just couldn't see why, or he couldn't see why, I should say. And he said, can you look at this for me, George? What's going on? So we were sending management reports, but I under no illusions. Business owners, even though we send the management reports, they look at them, they look at things they understand. To be able to interpret sometimes is where the skill comes in, and you don't really know where to start. So we agreed to have a meeting, and myself and one of my bookkeepers, who actually is an expert in their field and also understands them culturally, came along. We sat down and we basically said, we're going to show you why you're constantly paying money in. In this particular instance, if you imagine every industry has its anomalies, its particular quirks, and if you know them for your industry, it's well worth keeping an eye on them and seeing whether you fall within those parameters, because if you don't, they could tell you why you're in danger. In this particular case, there were two main things that we looked out for. One, they bought items to sell. So that for his particular type of company, the parameter was, for every pound or euro or dollar that you sell, it shouldn't cost more than 30%, or shall we say 30p, 30 euros or $30 to make that sale, or to buy that in materials. So to use euro as an example, every time he made 1,000 euros, he was paying out 650 euros for materials. So he was already down by 650. So his profit was down to 350 euros, when it should have been the other way around. He should have been making 650 plus euros in profit. So if you hold on to that, he's made 350 euros in trading profit, i.e. he sold 1,000 euros, it's cost him 650, 350 left. The next big thing, the highest expenditure in that type of business, usually behind materials, except in his case it came first, was in wages. For every 1,000 euros that he was selling, he was paying out 750 euros in staff wages. So remember, he's already only left with 350 euros, and out of that 350 euros, he's got to find 750 to pay staff. We haven't even touched on rent, utilities, payroll taxes, and all the other office costs and business costs that go along with that. Licenses, things break, new equipment. Can you see how straight away from the off this business was going to struggle? So yes, The only way to keep it afloat is to continually keep putting money in. Please realise that figures only tell you the result of your business activities. Not concentrating on the figures is a problem, but concentrating on the figures to solve your problem is a bigger issue. What your figures say is go look at what you're doing daily. Go look at how you're running the show. That will tell you why your figures look the way they do. Clearly, they were paying too much for materials. They were getting no bulk discounts. They were buying stuff on the fly just as and when they needed it. There was no re-evaluation of suppliers, whether the materials were up to scratch, so what was wastage. Staff-wise, the staff remained static. Whether on particular days they only made a small amount of money or high amounts of money, the staff was the same. Now, there were logistical reasons for that, but even that, just the very structure of the company, almost made it impossible to get away with having smaller staff costs. So bear that in mind when you're structuring your business or looking at how your business is run and how it's set up. Is just the very way you do things costing you money? When will you be able to stop putting money in? Or if you're not putting money in now, do you see that maybe down the line there is a danger that you might have to do it because there are things going on that could come along and cause you future problems? These and other things are where bookkeeping really does come into its own. So thank you for listening. If you haven't already, hop over to www.financialgymforbusiness.com, put your name, download the free tips booklet, and that will give you access to other freebies that I offer. And if you want to, leave a comment, share your experiences, and see you again. Thank you. Georgette of the Financial Gym saying bye.